Hey, what's going on? Back with another one. Another one. All right, all right, all right, all right. Yeah, I had to put the whatchamacallit, cancel, cancel. I had to put the what we call it. I had to put the 48 hertz. I had to put the what's it called? The 48 volts, like the 48 V on my interface, but you get to talk because I'm on a condenser. Okay. It's a little history, little something, something. Um, y'all, in case y'all don't know, it's been a minute since I talked about Black Germany, and you're gonna know. And today is one of them good days. Let's share it for a minute. Okay, the Black history of the Black Holy Roman Empire. We're going to skip to, and then this is the one page historian Christianity and the Catholic Church is companion reading this section. Click here below. And they talk about Christianity and all this other stuff. We already know it's the symbolism and all that. Talk about the history and all that. I talked a little bit about this over and over, and yeah, the Egyptians and all that. And then the clothing, the Turks and all that. Okay. I talked a little bit about that. I'm not going to get into that detail. That's like I can do that on a live stream and whatever. So we're talking about this today. You know what I'm saying? On this stream I got right here. I'm going to big up myself on this stream. So let's see. Well, I can do it over here. So, or better yet, I can do it here and I can do it here. How about that? Do it on this side on my screen. But I'm just gonna talk to y'all for a minute. I'm gonna skim through down Black Holy Roman Empire, so the racial stuff, and then the Grimaldi man and all this stuff, constitutional general. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty, so we can get right into it. History of Germany and the history of Britain. We did the history of modern humans, so we're gonna go right here and start to placate, and we're just gonna go. Just have the screen, and then I'm just showing you that right on the screen. But explain me talking. I'll be talking in the background, so you know how it's gonna go. Now, we talked about, was it last time I did a recording? We talked about Black Brits, right? Shouts out to y'all that support. I know it ain't gonna get much support. My historical stuff is just niggas tired of me reading the stuff like that, but that's okay. But I got other stuff to deal with. And shouts out to y'all with that the daily dump pump number 7. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool over here. So it is what it is. So we're gonna get right into it. We'll get right into it. All right. Whites write all sorts of nonsense to confuse us on the race and nature of the origin of Central and Eastern Europeans, but the authentic artifacts never lie. From skeletons and figurines, we know that they were, blacks, they would say, dark skinned people, right? From the other artifacts, we know that there were advanced in pottery making in metallurgy. This is Eastern Europe. Before it was called the modern day Russian Federation, known as Russia, Belarus, Ukraine. We ain't gonna get into that little nonsense. And Poland, they right next door to each other. Lithuania, it's right there. Latvia's right close to Lithuania, up in that where, and Estonia. These are Eastern Europe, by the way, and Czech Republic. Hungary, Romania. They're all in the Black Sea. They're all connected to the Eastern Europe. And Bulgaria is out there. The Bulgarians and Turkey's right underneath in Asia, but this is in Eastern Europe. Bulgaria, Serbia, all these countries, some of these Balkan states, Croatia, Serbia, and Bulgaria, Romania, and I believe Kosovo and all them, they were all part of Yugoslavia. They were Slavic countries. And Ukraine's right next to Slavic, and then Slovakia. See, Austria, that's in Western Europe, like West Europe and all that. And then Czech Republic and all these countries. Now, Poland was right next to Yugoslavia. So it's really kind of crazy with the territories. Estonia's up north, like that's pretty accurate. And so, yeah, we talked about this. And then you got the Tomb 43, Necrophilius, I mean, Necropolis, excuse me, Necropolis of Varni in Bulgaria, 4,600 BCE. That's what you see right there. Human male European skull. And that's what it is. And then you got the culture, the thinkers in Romania, 5,550, 5,500 BCE in the skeleton, and the cells and the Gauls, who were they, and all this other stuff. And the Gauls and all that, skip the albino part. Germany and all this other stuff. Ancient Hungary. We go here. So, ancient Hungary. You got the albinos and all that, right? So, ancient Hungary. The original inhabitants were the Panani or the Panaians, group of the tribe skin. Tribes to akin to Illyrians from the 4th BCE. It was invaded by the various, they'll say Celtic tribes or Celtic tribes. Little is heard of the Pananian until 35 BCE, when the inhabitants of allies of the Dynametians were attacked by the Augustus Caesar, who conquered and occupied uh, Sisak. Yeah, Sisak. Yeah, it's pronounced Sisak. Yeah, Sisak. The country were not, however, definitely subdued until 9 BCE, but it was incorporated into the Illyricum. Illyricum, yeah, the Illyricum, the frontier, which was thus extended as far as the Danube. Danube. In AD, or shall we say CE6, right? The Pananians with the Dalmatian, yeah, Dalmatians or Dalmatians, yeah, the Dalmatians and other Illyrian tribes engaged in the so-called Great Illyrian Revolt were overcome by the Tiberius and the Germanicus Julius Caesar. He received the Angevin Germanicus in 9 BCE, and when it's uh, posthumously awarded for his father in the honor of his victories in Germania. After the hard-fought campaign, which has lasted for 3 years, the rebellion crushed in CE, or should they say AD 9, right? CE 9 or 9 CE. The province of Illyricum was dissolved, and its lands were divided between the new province of Pannonia, the Pannonia, yeah, Pannonia. I probably pronounced it all wrong. The Pannonians, or the Pannonian. Pannonia is the north, down Dalmatia in the south, but the date divisions is unknown. But in most certain after the CE or 20 CE or AD 20, but before AD 50, known as CE 50, right? The approximately dangerous barbarian tribes, Quadati and Marcani, and then the necessitate the presence of a large number of troops, but the legions in later times. But in numbers of fortresses were built on the bank of Danube. Oh, okay. Okay. He's going on. Okay. We'll deal with that. But sometime between the years of 102 to 107 CE between the first second of the Dacian Wars, the Trajan divided province and Pannonia Superior, western part of the capital of Kenticum. I probably pronounced it wrong on the older videos 3 years ago. Now it's probably I call it Pannonia. Yeah, Pannonia Inferior, eastern part, with the capital of Actium. And according to the Ptolemy, these divisions were separated by line drawn from the Arabona in the north of the Servetium, or they pronounce it Grascia, in the south. Later boundary were placed further east. So this is the people, Hungary, of course. This is the battle, and they was in war conflict. You see the stones on the walls, of course, and then they said Caprinae were Caprini, Capri or Caprinini were ancient people that reside formerly of the Principality of Moldovia, the Moldovia modern eastern Romania. But the archaeology of Moldovia in the period was 106 to 318 CE, shows the coexistence of the distinctive material cultures, but the sedentary the exhibiting of the features of the nomadic steep culture. The albino sedentary culture was on the material level, not significantly higher than the other barbarian regions on the fringes of the Roman Empire, but the ethnic of the Capri in a the variety of ethnic groups, including the Samaritans, Thracians, Germans, and Celts, or people pronounce it Celts. It don't even matter to me. For 500 years of the Carpathian Basin has been in the People Highway. The various white tribes, such as the Visigoths and the Ostrogoths and Lombards, migrating across the areas of the sojourn in the various length of the time. Later, the Western Roman Empire collapsed under the stress of the migration of the Germanic tribes and the uh, Carpathian pressure. After 4 centuries, of existence, the Roman civilization was swept away by the Great Migration, the albino peoples. But later, the Huns that we have chasing the albinos of the Asia arrived. That was the military power, the final force of the withdrawal of the Roman legions. But in the middle of the 5th century, the Pannonia was ceded into the Huns by the Byzantine Emperor Theodosius II. So it's talking about this guy on the bottom right here. So yeah, it's pretty much, Theodosius II. Then you got the king right here. We ain't gonna read much. And then you got Serbia and the king right here. It says the wife and all that, and it's 1400 CE, or they'll say AD at the time. We talked about the Huns. I'm not gonna read all that. So the Huns, you already know Attila the Huns and those people, and that's the people, the Mongolian people, and then you see the admixtures. And I showed this before, and then and all that. And yes, Sanzanin played, yeah, King Shapur the second, and all these great kings and all this other stuff and battles I show all these pictures before. So it's pretty much it. And depicted the Christ and all that, little debates there and there. So yeah, you got Germany, the history. Then we talk about the Franks. Franks is a long read. So I'm skipping past the other stuff that we already know. I'm just reviewing. But yeah, the Franks we'll read in just a minute. I'm gonna put myself on the side screen here. I'm just going to explain certain things. Those things matter in time, but we know that this is the stuff that you look at right here and sort of speak. But like that's the stuff that I've been talking about for years and years. And I'm just looking at it from aesthetically that I just want to touch on a little bit of history of what I'm saying right here. Right. A lot of stuff that I talked about back then was not as popular. You know what I mean? It didn't really get out in the airwaves until YouTube started making regulations to allow free flowing information coming in. Because back then it was not free flowing like that. And then you have different players trying to stop us from saying stuff. That's why mainstream media is on the internet and ruin it and try to dissect certain things. So I'm gonna put this in the big screen. We're gonna read this a couple of minutes, and that's just what it is. So we're going to talk about the Franks a little bit. Uh, let's see. Franks. We're not going to go into it, but in the 560s, the Avirs, highly organized nomadic confederacy of the mixed origins, they were ruled by Kagan, who was surrounded by the tight-knit, encouraged, and nomad warriors, organized, charismatic Turco-Mongol groups. The founded the Avir Khaganate. The Khaganate state was maintained supremacy in the region more than 2 centuries, had the military power and launches attacks against the neighbors of the Avir Khaganate was weakened was weakened by the constant wars and outside pressure. And the Black Franks under Charlemagne managed to defeat the Avirs, ending the 250-year rule in the middle of the 9th century. The Slavic Baltan Princip- uh, Principality, Principality, also known as the Lower Pannonia, was established by the Franks as a frontier outpost when they destroyed the Avier state in the western part of the Pannonian Plain. However, this vassal state was destroyed in 900 by Hungarian tribes. After the fall of the great Hun Avier nomadic empires, only in the Western Slavic and Southern Slavic people who have been settling since the 6th and 7th centuries, succeeding the establishing themselves the Carpathian Basin. In 895 to 896 CE, under the leadership of the Afropade and some new albinos across the Carpathians, yeah, Carpathians and enter the Carpathian Basin. But the tribes called the Magyars. The Magyars were leading the tribes of the alliance in the conquered and the century basin. And the Magyars and the Khazars, modern, you know who? The Edomites, right? That's what I'm gonna call them. I ain't gonna say the actual word that's made up. What they say, but who has exerted an influence over the Magyars in around 862? But the 7 tribes separated for the Khazars, but the force of the Aprian in essence, okay, and I talked about this before, estimated about 400,000 people, considering the Turkic tribes and Kabul and tribes and other smaller tribes. But in the first half of the century, during the decades of followed conquest, raiding expeditions of Magyar warriors and subjugate all of Europe. But the constant of state of terror, but in the time, however, the began of the feel the effects of the Western counter strategy when the Magyars invaded the Bavaria in 955 CE. But the armored cavalry of the Otto the Great, and of the Black Holy Roman Empire checked their advances, and then decisive battle at the Lassafit and annihilated the Magyar and the assailants. Although the Magyars launched further attacks on the Byzantium following this devastation defeat, it became clear that they have arrived as the decisive historical crossroad. But the two alternatives confronted them either the day they settled down from a state and adjust themselves to be the people of Europe, or else the fate would befall them as they set other nomadic peoples who have been annihilated in previous centuries. This is talking about the Franks, by the way. So the Franks is a pretty good history. Then you got the Hungarian kings. I'm not gonna get into that. Stephen the First. A little bit about him. It talks about the same thing. Great Prince, Bavaria, and all this other little history. Just little stuff right here. That's the stuff I just want to brush on. It's not really much. Then you got the Crusades. The Crusader, what we just saw earlier. Yeah, the Crusades is real, real thing. Then it talks about a lot of stuff right here. So yeah, Holy Roman Emperor Leopold the First. I mentioned him in several my recordings and videos, and Leopold the First is that's what he would look like. So the Holy Roman Empire, Leopold the First, you see his coin and all this other stuff. So yeah. So 1640 to 1705, Leopold the First. So that's pretty much it, on that. I'm just Tell you that's pretty much it, on that. I'm just gonna stop sharing for a minute. So that's all I got, man. Like, this is pretty much uh a revised, updated view on Black Germany and all this other stuff, or the Moors of Germany and all that. Talk about a little bit of stuff like that. I'm the only one that talked about it. It's a good thing. It's old and all this other stuff. But I just want y'all to understand that's just a little update on the content and pretty much like the same stuff that I've seen over and over again. So I look at these things and I just delve on it. It's just that's something that I had to drop for y'all for that day. And I'm just like saying, man, let me brush off a little history. But we're gonna talk a little bit of the historical content, and then I'll talk about discussing little history of things like this. We talk about things and arguments, and it's just stuff like that that's easy to remember. But I don't know, man. I don't know. So with that, shalom to the people of Israel. Shalom to y'all as well, and the Gentiles as always. Until next time, I'll see y'all on the next one. And I'm signing off, and I'm out.